Shalom and welcome to Practical Spirituality here in the Old City of Jerusalem at Aisha Torah, overlooking the Temple Mount. Today we're going to discuss the most important thing in all of creation, literally the most important thing. Now, who knows the most important thing in all of creation? Raise your hand. Let's give a guess. Come on. Show the crowd. Show the crowd. Show the crowd. Yeah, let's hear what's the most important thing in all of creation. Give a hand.
God.
Daniel.
God.
God, okay, very nice. Purpose of living. Purpose, yeah, we discussed that. Were you here yesterday? Who else got one? Yes? Connection to God. Very nice. Someone mentioned that a second ago. So, first of all, you all answered beautifully. But, should have kept that on. So, I love ringers. So, the best is when you get this like, this really like homely girl with like big thick glasses, and all of a sudden you get this like heavy metal ringer, and you're like, what's going on over there, man? So, okay, so the most important thing for sure is God, but the most important thing we're going to be discussing is another most important thing, and it relates to God a lot, and that is desire, ratzon. Ratzon is the most important thing. Ratzon, desire. Now, I probably should have started the class this way. Let's start again. Please raise your hand and let me know what the Brooklyn Bridge is made of.
Stone.
Stone?
Bricks.
Bricks? Oh, it rhymes with Brooklyn? Yeah. Metal?
Bricks. Steel.
Okay, raise your hand. What's airplanes made of? Airplane grade? Aluminum. Okay, aluminum. Titanium is too expensive. Okay, aluminum. Okay. What's your clothing made of? Material, fabric, cotton, wool. What is your extremely powerful technological smartphone made of? So the answer is all of you are right once again, and all of you are wrong. What everything I just mentioned just now is made of is desire. It's made of desire because people in Brooklyn got tired of the travel to Manhattan to go to work. And when enough people desired it, they eventually built the Brooklyn Bridge. And the people who made the bricks that built that bridge, I mean, it's not made of bricks, but part of it is. And there's a lot of stone involved and stuff. They desired to feed their families, and so there they were. And the people who studied engineering, because that's civil engineering, that's heavy duty stuff, they desired to earn their living with their skill sets, and they developed those skill sets because they desired it. And so the bridge is ultimately made of the desire for people in Brooklyn and people in Manhattan to get back and forth in a quicker fashion. And that's what the airplane's made of. And the fabric of your clothing's made out of the desire of someone to make, at least for some of you, for a creative person to create, out of their creativity. That was the designer. And also, the people who sewed the fabrics, made the piece goods and all that, they desired to feed their families with their handiwork. And, everything's really made of desire. And your cell phone's made out of the desire of people to communicate and for life to be more convenient. People want that. There's a desire for that. But everything you have ever seen in your life is made out of desire. Your very flesh is made out of the desire for your parents for one another. There is nothing you will ever see or look at that is not built out of desire. That's it. That's what the world's made of. So therefore, it's the most important. That was kind of golf course. Okay. His was kind of microbrewery over there. So anyway, we're going to have a ringer contest here. Anyway, both of you are men. Men don't use ringers, man.
It's an alarm.
Oh, okay. Alarms are fine. No, the ringers are for women's purses. Just to fish it out. When men use ringers, it's like letting people know you're popular or something. It's like, look, people call me. Our phones are always against our bodies, so like, it's supposed to be a very discreet thing that someone's interrupting your conversation. Of course, if you're not enjoying the conversation, just turn your ringer on. Now, so everything is made of desire. That's it. Well, guess what? If you want to get anything done, you better get your desire totally honed in. You got to be laser beam desire if you want to get something done. Laser beam desire. And if you're not getting something done, if you've noticed you've had trouble getting things done, you probably don't know what you want. And that's a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what they want. I interviewed a boy yesterday, 21 years old. I asked him what he wants. I'm not going to tell you what he answered, but it was, it was very generic. It was a Hasidic kid, and he wants to learn Torah and serve God, because there's nothing sweeter than that. And that was really great. I liked the answer. It was a great answer. But then I asked him another question. I said, but what do you want? Not meaning what do you want as opposed to that. You should want that, and I'm glad he wants that. But what do you want? Like, what's your vision? Like, why'd God make you? Because when you learn that particular piece of Torah, and I learn that piece of Torah, it comes out the same. Or you make a bracha and I make a bracha, it comes out the same. You know, it's the same words. Like, but what do you want that's unique about you? I mean, what's your dream? What's your vision? What difference what difference do you want it to have made that you were in the world? Other than that generic, barcode thing that you learned Torah and you prayed. You did mitzvahs. So what are you doing here? He didn't have an answer for that. And can I get a showing of hands where everyone has to vote? Because maybe I'm doing something stupid here. To marry my daughters, you have to have a vision for yourself. Is that right? Am I crazy? Am I going to wind up making these ladies like old maids? Okay, raise your hand if to marry Rabbi Glazer's daughter, you have to have a vision. Raise your hand. Everyone has to vote.
It depends what the vision is.
No, you have to have a personal vision.
Vision.
I don't care what the vision is. You just got to have a vision to even get in the pool of dating one of my daughters. You got to have some personal vision beyond the generic Judaism vision. Okay? Raise your hand if yes, the guy should have a vision to get in the dating pool. Okay? Raise your hand if it's enough that at 20 years old, the guy's interested in Torah and mitzvahs and it's sweet there.
What's your daughter like? Yeah, I mean, it's up to your daughter, not really.
Up to my daughter? Welcome to the Hasidic community. We'll be letting her know who the guy is. Okay? So, yeah, this is not up to my daughter. Yeah. I mean, I interview them, obviously. I interview my daughters, but I have a daughter who's literally set up to marry a guy who wants to stay in the sweetness of Torah and mitzvahs and never look outside that bubble. I have a daughter for that, but it's not this daughter. Yeah. Anyway, okay, it seemed like most of you voted that. I'm not crazy. Okay, great. I have to say that I am a little disappointed that our community hasn't produced a lot of men for my daughter. I mean, I don't believe a person should have lived a quarter of his life figuring if you live till 80, so you lived a quarter of your life, and these are the formative years, that in all your formative years, no one ever directed you towards maybe having a personal purpose. A personal purpose. I mean, that's kind of pretty sad, in my opinion. Now, in all fairness, I have to go back to me being 20. Yeah, I was waving a lot of banners at 20, for sure. I was big time on personal purpose. Okay, never mind. I thought maybe I was a hypocrite and busted, but no, at 20 I was. But then again, I was raised secular, and I had a serious purpose built in. It was built into me. Like your life should make a difference. The fact that you were here should matter, specifically based on you. Okay, back to desire. The reason the most important thing in your life is to know what you want, because once you know what you want, you'll get it. Give you an example. Please raise your hands. Everyone raise your hands, please. If you've ever wanted something really badly. Ever in your life, raise your hand if you ever wanted. It should be all of you. I mean, I can't imagine someone's got their hand down. Raise them high. Come on, I don't want an L, I want a Vav. Okay, if you ever wanted something badly. Okay, raise your hand if you ever wanted something badly. Okay, great. And now keep your hand up. No, keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. You wanted it really badly. Keep your hand up if you got it. So what you'll notice is, and by the way, those of you who put your hand down, you just chose something that you didn't get. But in fact, you got most of the stuff you've ever wanted badly. And the majority of people had their hands up. Because we have a saying in Judaism, in the way that a person wants to go, God will lead you there. God has set up this universe to actually conspire with your desire. The world conspires with desire. Now you notice in the words, in the way that a man wants to go, it's molichin is plural or singular? Plural. They take him there. Wherever you want to go, they take you there. Well, who's they? Aren't we monotheists? Shouldn't it say he takes you there?
The desires.
He takes you, the desires? No, it's not the desires. Who's they? So the answer is that there is a giant parallel system that comes down from the light of God all the way down, filtered universe, like worlds, parallel worlds coming down that ultimately coagulate into our world. Inside that world, it's filled with entities called malachim. They're called malachim. So it's like a molecular system, only it's molecular. Molecular. It's a molecular system. And it's filled with malachim, which are these entities. There's you know how many there are? I actually found out how many there are. A godzillion. Because only God knows how many zillions there are. Okay? It's a godzillion. There's a godzillion amount of molecular beings that fill the universe. And guess what? Their job, you know what their job is? Their job is to respond to desire. Their job is to respond to desire. They are literally intermediaries that work, conduits that work exactly like this electricity up above. Because think about it, every bit of line of electricity that gets to this light bulb right above me, every bit of that line is really just an entity that's receiving a message from above and it's coming down this way. Now, if I doused it in water, it would send a message back up to the circuit breaker saying stop before, there's real trouble. So it would make a power out here for the switch, the circuit breaker for this particular room. It'll get a message that way too. But generally it's going this way. And God's system works both ways too. And there's actually a third way. So there's a first way, which is called, you can practice some Hebrew, it's called OREA. Try that, OREA. That's when God's infinite light comes to create our world, filtered through the worlds, so that we can have actual physicality, this holographic projection all around you right now. That's all coming from OREA. Then there's something that when you do a mitzvah, or you do a prayer, or you desire something, so it sends up into the system something called Or Choser, which is called returning light. Try the word Or Choser. Or Choser. Or Choser means returning light. And 25 years ago, I played in a rock band called the Returning Light Band, which was really cute, God rock, Baal Tshuva band in the old city. Anyway, that's called Or Choser. Now, what happens is your Or Choser meets the Or Yashar. Because think about it, the Or Yashar is always coming because the world doesn't disappear, it keeps coming. And for those who are really more philosophical types, you should know that it's strobing from nothing into something at all times. Meaning it's not just coming, it's strobing. This is also strobing, meaning it's just strobing very fast. A fluorescent strobe slow. So you can actually, if you wave your hand in front of a fluorescent, your hand breaks up, like it's in front of a strobe. This is a fancier lighting, so you're not going to see it. It's moving fast. But the Or of Hashem that's coming into the world, the Or Yashar, the straight light, straight in, is strobing it from nothing to something. Meaning, a lot of you think that today's kind of going off the steam of yesterday. It's meaning this minute somehow carried on from last minute. But tell me, was there anything in last minute that has the power to create the world? Is there anything in the world that creates the world? Was there anything in the power of a minute ago's reality of all the universe that has in it the power to make this minute? No, there's nothing in there that powers anything. Nothing. All of this is being powered. And it's being powered from nothingness into somethingness at all times. And it's really an amazing concept. Because imagine God like had to do a major adjustment. So he could actually strobe us off, go do some work behind the scenes, just deal with some stuff that needs dealing with, and then strobe us back in. Would we notice that?
No.
We wouldn't notice that at all.
I'd be in a coma.
Yeah, you just wake up and... So he's doing this all the time, meaning we are being created from nothingness at all times. And that nothingness is happening just as often as the somethingness. It's just that it's moving so fast that we're only seeing the somethingness, because what reference do you have for nothingness? You don't have any reference for nothing. And it's also going so fast that your mind would never catch it anyway. So it's not possible to catch it. Although deja vu probably relates to this a little bit, that you're like getting, maybe you're getting a little ahead of yourself or something. So everything seems like a memory for a little while, but it might be related, deja vu, where you're kind of ahead of things. By the way, the Kabbalists teach us that we're actually even on a lag system, which is kind of crazy, that God set up a lag system. So like what you're hearing right now, everything that's happening, including my own free will to speak, is a little bit lagged. Which is like, I don't know how much the lag is, it's like 8 seconds, But everything's a little lagged, and I wonder why it's lagged. It's a little strange, but but one of the greatest Kabbalists ever lived, the Shla Kodesh says we're on a lag. So if the Shla says we're on a lag, we're on a lag. So God's creating it with a tiny lag. Now, why do they put radio on lag or TV on lag? Is to deal with someone saying something really crazy, so they can deal with that real quick. Put in a beep or something. So, how do they beep live television? And the answer is it's on a bit of a lag. So they can beep it. And so we're also on a lag. Anyway, we're not here to discuss that. What we are here to discuss is that this molecular system is built to respond to desire. So you've got to really know what you want. And it so responds to desire. It so conspires to desire that it'll even let you have what you didn't want. Raise your hand if you ever, you don't have to flip the camera on this one. Raise your hand, no one's going to be seen on that. Raise your hand if you ever wanted something you shouldn't have had. Meaning, according to Judaism, like, that probably wasn't the right thing. Whatever it was. It could have been a shrimp cocktail. It could have been anything. Raise your hand, you ever had something you shouldn't have had. Okay? Keep your hand up if God let you have it. So what you start to realize is how mature God is and how immature religion is. Meaning religions like turn God into this very religious figure. But ladies and gentlemen, God is not religious, okay? And you could even perhaps argue that God hates religion. And because if, imagine someone stole your identity on Facebook or whatever it's called, what are all those things called? Yeah, whatever, social media. Imagine someone stole your identity. Well, has anyone's identity been stolen more than God's? And God's the number one. Think about it. You in this room who all know that God's an unknowable being. Nevertheless, if I ask you to think about God, you'll have some concept, which is automatically wrong. And now all we have to do is give you a status as a rabbi, priest, monk, Ewok, or whatever you call it. And you're instantly going to start telling everybody who God is. You're just instantly going to start telling people who God is based on some concept that he cannot possibly be, because any concept you'd have of God is automatically not who he is, because a concept has border and limit. If it's cold, it ain't hot. If it's wet, it's not dry. It's something, therefore it's not another thing. Well, how could God possibly be that concept? Because God's not limited by anything, not by concept, not by space and time, not by nothing. It's an unlimited, infinite reality. That any thought you'd have of it is automatically not who it is. And they certainly made it into a religious being because as if you do something wrong and God's like, don't. I can't believe it. How could you have done it? God's the one who orchestrated it for you. God's like, oh, that's what you aim to do? All right. I set up the world for desire. So if you desire the wrong things, well, I guess there's not much I can do about that. So let's go. So for those of you who are raised religious, I suggest you take a step back from that place and start to grow up with your concepts of God and start to realize how awesome Hashem is, how awesome this being is. I mean, you are not nearly as forgiving and loving as God is. You never have known anyone like that. All of us are supposed to be like that, but I hope by the time I'm an old man, I'm as giving and forgiving as God is for people making stupid moves. I'm getting there, though. I watched a guy who was driving to Beit Shemesh for a meeting today. I'm on the highway. It's 2 lanes both directions. Beautiful highway they made, by the way. I got to Beit Shemesh from Nachlaot in 20 minutes. I mean, that's pretty darn good. I mean, Israel's amazing with highways. So anyway, but I see a guy, he wants to get around a truck. So he starts merging into the passing lane. But there's a car there. So I'm just like putting on my brakes. So like, this is going to be a crash. The person honks, the guy realizes, and guess what he does? He does it anyway, and pushed the other car into the shoulder, meaning the car survived and put on his brakes and got behind them. So I just couldn't help myself. Because I've never in my life seen such a thing. Meaning when you're pulling into someone's lane, you didn't realize there's someone in your blind spot, you pull back. This guy just forced the guy off the road purposely. Anyway, so I just never in my life saw such a thing, and I have a fast car, so I decided to pull up next to the guy. So I pull up next to the guy, and I give my honk, and there's 2 men in the front seat. And so the guy behind the wheel looks at me like, go to hell. Like don't even try. Because I was going like, what was that? Yeah. You ready for this? The passenger gives me the finger. Which I thought was hysterical. I mean, like, I'd love to get a beer with that guy. And that's the kind of guy that's like, I wouldn't make him my best friend. He's not necessarily welcome for Shabbos, but definitely an hour over some craft beer. That's the kind of guy I want to party with. Just not the response I was expecting, But anyway, but we need to be so forgiving because God is like, he's not just forgiving, he's arranging. God's arranging these things. It's very interesting because there's a famous rabbi in America named Avi Fishoff. And Avi Fishoff is like, people ask me all the time if I agree with his what's the word? His approach to kids from the Haredi community, the black hat community that are not on the path, meaning they've dropped out. So you know what his approach is? His approach is give whatever they want. Just give whatever they want. Like your kid wants try lobster, yeah? Hand him your credit card. Your kid wants to go to Vegas, gamble, and spend the rest of the night in a brothel, yeah? Call the travel agent and fly him out there. He's all the way. And so people ask me all the time if I'm like, do I agree with his approach? They're thinking I'm going to be that liberal. I'm not that liberal. I have a couple other tactics that are just a little less liberal than that, but they're probably as effective. But I do understand him, and I want to explain. And now maybe we're getting it with this God thing and how God just will fulfill all your desires. Parents are the representation of God. If you look at the 10 Commandments, the 5th of the commandments that connects you from God commandments to man commandments, meaning the first 4 commandments are all about man and God, and the second 5 commandments are all about God and man, like man and man, like don't steal, don't kill, don't covet, So, but the bridge between them is the parents. Honor your parents, which is a bridge because our parents are the archetype for God. Someone just told me the other day that every atheist he's ever met, who's an outspoken nihilist atheist, he says whenever he's interviewed, now I don't know how many he's met, but he told me he's had at least 10 of them that are hardcore outspoken atheists who are go all the way to the nihilistic, millennial style, left wing, BDS, you got it. So every single one of them he's interviewed, when he's gone into it with them, when they've trusted him enough to tell him, did not have relationships with their parents. They did not have proper relationships to their parents. Our relationship with our parents is really important with our relationship with God. They go together. And God arranges Vegas. God arranges Vegas. Does God arrange Vegas? You want to go to Vegas? Is God going to arrange that? Yeah, I hope so. Don't go to Vegas. Okay?
Too late.
Yeah, the whole saying in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Not if you know any Kabbalah. Whatever happens in Vegas is being recorded indelibly forever, you know. So it doesn't stay in Vegas. So the Vegas anyway is just as much as this room's a projection, a holographic projection from the infinite. Well, that's what Vegas is, and the infinite's it's made of the infinite because the infinite's causing the projection. So everything is well documented in Vegas. Now, anyway, but I'm starting to understand Avi Fishoff a little bit. Rabbi Fishoff, starting to understand him a bit because maybe that's what this is all about. Meaning these kids are living in God's world. Avi Fishoff probably gets that God's going to let you fulfill your desires. Not just let you, he's going to arrange it for you. And so therefore, if you blew it as a parent, now I'm going to talk about this for a moment. If you blew it as a parent, you must fix that by being godly. Get it? If you blew it, what does it mean to blow it as a parent? I'm going to give you the definition of blowing it as a parent. Here's the definition of blowing it as a parent. I think all the parents in the room are like, not sure I want to hear this one. Yeah, but I'll give you the definition of blowing it as a parent. Making what others think more important than how your kids are doing. Okay? Making what others think more important than how your kids are doing. That is called blowing it as a parent. Now, that happens on a scale. Like some parents, it's really important what others think, and therefore it's really unimportant how their kids are doing. And some parents, it's fairly important what others think, and it's fairly important how their kids are doing. But I believe that when a mother is pregnant with a child, and the couple's like really excited, you know, and they want to see the ultrasound, and they're going to put it on Facebook or whatever, and they're all excited about that. But I believe that there's, and I'm going to make this up, but when they're asleep, the night they find out they're pregnant, they go to sleep that night, and their souls go to heaven for an interview with God, or an angel. An angel interviews them, and it says or it doesn't interview, it lectures them. So we see you're with child, and the parents are like, yeah, it's so exciting. And the angel says, well, it's been determined in heaven that in order for your child to become a healthy adult, he or she has to have one address where he is accepted, loved, cherished, all the other adjectives, no matter what. Unconditionally accepted and loved. There's got to be one address like that because, you know, the rest of the world's questionable how much they're going to love you if you can't produce for them. Produce grades, produce money, produce, you know, something. Looks, thinness, handsomeness, muscles, you know. The rest of the world, you're going to have to produce something to get your pat on the back. But you got to have one address where you are cherished, loved, accepted, no matter what. And we in heaven decided that no greater address than your address. And the parents are like, yeah, we agree. And then the angel says, sign. I guess they have pens in heaven, so they both sign. And then the angel touches them. By the way, that signature goes, you know what it goes for? It goes for that they'll stay committed to their kids over society. But you know what it goes for too? That signature actually gets recorded. And it moves to checkbooks for therapists later. That same signature is going to be moved to checkbooks later. You know, I was raised by an extremely capitalistic man, like extremely. I mean, he was the American dream, which I call the American nightmare, but I was raised in the lap of luxury with this extremely capitalistic father. So I rebelled against that at 11 years old and became like this Marxist redistribution of wealth. I was a total communist left-wing guy, and I still am, really. I really believe in redistribution of wealth, but I know enough about God now that he redistributes the wealth to therapists. You see, people are really, seriously, people are really great at people. People who get people who can make a difference for you. They also got wives, husbands, wives, kids. They got to take care of the families. Well, who in the hell is going to pay someone because you're good with people? The answer is the rich people who are not good with people. It's the people who made all that money and wanted to look good, because generally money means power, and power means virility or fertility or whatever it means to people. And somehow you're going to be seen as something, whatever it is. And I chose many years ago not to care what that is. But you're going to be seen as something. But meanwhile, your bank account just goes up and up and up and up. Well, that money's got to get distributed. Well, who's it going to get distributed to? It's going to get distributed to the people who help your children get their lives back together. Because that's a recipe for disaster for children growing up. And I'll tell you something even more powerful is that, you know, I meet people, and I'm sure I'll meet more this weekend because I'm running a Shabbaton for 1,000 Hasidic families this, on Friday. And once in a while I get a couple who come up to me and they say, yeah, their child no longer lives in their house. And I said, well, why not? And they said, well, they're so far gone from our values that we're afraid it would poison the other children. And I'm like, the other children are already poisoned way more than your kid who could have poisoned them could have poisoned them. They're already poisoned way more. You know why? Because they just heard loud and clear that this house is conditional. That love is conditional in this place. So the poison's already in, man. And you just showed them the ultimate betrayal. And they will never have another safe place to rest their eyes the rest of their lives, because the only safe place in anyone's life is the home they grew up in. And if that wasn't safe, well, you're stuck. You're going to need a lot of healing now to get your heart to open up again, because hearts are not interested in head. They're interested in protection. And once the heart's been hurt, it doesn't care. It doesn't even care you got a wedding band on your finger. How many couples have I counseled where the guy's pointing to the wedding band on her finger and he's saying, Rabbi, there's the ring. Where's the heart? And I said, she knows. She wants to give you her heart. But it got locked away years and years ago. Anyway, so now that I understand God a little better, the wealth's getting distributed properly. It's getting distributed properly, and in the end, it will be a sum. What do you call it? A zero sum something? I forget what it's called. Zero sum what?
Game?
Yeah, it'll be a zero sum game. And all the ego where all the money looked like it was will wind up all over the place in various ways. It will all work out. And being great with people is worth a lot of money. And if you're great with people, if you're really great with people, so hone in your skills, get the experience, and make a difference for people so that there's less madness in the world, less cycles, problems. Speaking of all this, I run a well-being seminar. So for those watching this from the East Coast or even the West Coast, any coast, you can always fly in. There's always a couple of people fly in each seminar. I have a Muncie seminar on the 10th for men, starts 1 p.m. in Muncie. It's called The Possible You. You can look it up online and get in touch. And then the 11th is women's seminar, which is start every day for 4 days, 10 to 4 p.m. Men's is non-work hours. And for men in this room, I imagine you understand English. I run my seminars here in Hebrew, but I'm actually running an English one. First time in a really long time, on February 24th in Jerusalem. So you don't be a fool, like get there, like be there. Just make sure you're there. And that's like thinking you're going to get yourself out of jail is not going to be, it's just not going to happen. So give me the chance to get you out of jail. Yeah. I've got a good track record getting people out of their own little jail of their little story of their life, and their little narrative that they have been so vigilant to protect. Now, the back to desire is that you want to really hone in what you want. And I'd like to bring in Judaism here, because we haven't even mentioned Judaism. So I'd like to bring in Judaism here, and that is that God gave us a real clear list. Sorry to go so heavy here, but God gave us a really clear list. Not what to want, besides obviously wanting to have a relationship with God, which is true intimacy. I mean, there's nothing more intimate than that. Now, if those of you feel it's not very intimate, it's because you don't know how to meditate. And I've been directing as many people as possible to learn meditation and then go make a bracha. Learn meditation and go do Shmoneh Esrei. Learn meditation, like go on YouTube, learn to meditate, and go do a mitzvah. It's not a difficult thing, and that's what's missing. Is that you're doing prayer, blessings, mitzvahs. You're doing it with your monkey mind. That's a total monkey and a rascal of a character. You're doing mitzvahs in your monkey mind. And then you come to me and say, I don't feel it, Rabbi. I was raised observant and I just don't feel spiritual. But you're not in the right mind frame. And I could put you know how long it would take me to put you in that mind frame? How long do you think it would take me to put this entire room into that mind frame of where it'd be a good time to be making a bracha, or a good time to do a mitzvah, or a good time to pray? How long do you think that would take me? 5 minutes? No, I'll do it right now in 20 seconds. Ready? Not even 20 seconds, 10 seconds. Not even 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Ready? Here we go. First of all, let's take a deep breath together in preparation for the 5 seconds. Okay, you ready? Are you aware that you are aware? Are you aware that you're aware? Meaning you're aware of me right now because you're looking at me and you're listening to me. That's true. But are you aware that you're aware of me? Is there an awareness you have that is aware of the awareness of me? Meaning I'm the object right now, and the vocal cords and the sound waves are objects, right? I'm a physical object with sound waves. That's objects. Okay? And those objects are entering into your brain, which is an awareness, right? But are you aware of that? Are you aware of that awareness? And the answer is absolutely you're aware of that. And that's all you need. It's all you need. Now, should you get disciplined in staying aware of your awareness? Yes, you need to be disciplined. Meaning now would be a great time for a prayer, or a great time for a bracha, or a great time for a mitzvah. Because now that you're in the awareness of your awareness, now you're in your true essence, your true self, your soul. It's a great place to be. And it's not a complicated thing. It's like beyond simple. So simple. And in like in an instant, you having been hijacked by your thinking goes away. Because your thinking is not your awareness. Your thinking has eclipsed your awareness. All the thoughts that clutter your mind eclipses your awareness of your awareness. And takes away well-being. And clogs arteries, and can even have cells. It can even have one's actual cells turn against them. Cells in one's body. I mean, it doesn't sound possible for cells to turn against a person, but unfortunately all of us have lost some dear people whose bodies rebelled. Our bodies rebelled too. I mean, we get headaches and backaches and digestive stuff. I mean, our bodies are screaming out for inquiry, for going inside and getting into what's getting so triggered that only a headache could mask. What's getting triggered so deep in me that only a stomachache could mask. What's getting triggered so deep that only a backache, some chronic pain could mask. So desire is what the whole world's made of, but we gotta be radiating that desire from a real clean place. Torah tells us what to avoid. Because, even though God's very forgiving and God even arranges our dumb moves, he doesn't want you to do that. It's just that he's stuck. He's got his hands tied behind his back with the whole free will thing. It's really hard to have free will if God doesn't arrange your bad moves. Can you imagine every time you try to do something wrong, God sabotages it? It's like, what free will would be left for you? So God's had his hands tied behind his back to be so giving and forgiving. It couldn't work otherwise. And by the way, you should know the 13 attributes of mercy, which are just 13 ways. Only Judaism would break up forgiveness into 13 ways. But there are 13 ways. They're called the 13 attributes of mercy. They come from an attribute called keter, which are the 10 spheres, is the top, it's the crown. And that's called desire, which is really interesting. It's called keter's desire. It's ratzon. It makes sense too, because before you have all the 10 spheros, you got to first have a desire to have them. God can't create the world without first wanting to, without having that desire. So therefore the crown, the keter, the top sphere is called desire. But it's also the source of the 13 attributes of mercy. Because God desired a world. But how are you supposed to have a world with people with free will without mercy, without having forgiveness built in? And why do they have to be 13? Is because people have a lot of stupid ways to betray their creator. A lot of stupid ways to forget. Forget we're a projection, a loving projection of this being. We don't even exist. We're just a projection of this being. And so there's a lot of ways for you to forget that we're a projection. And there's 13 ways that God forgives us. And it comes from the world of desire, because the very desire that creates the world has to have built in the forgiveness, because we have free will. And so to harness desire in this world, it makes sense to me to do the right things and avoid the wrong things. Well, how are you supposed to know what the right things are and the wrong things are? Well, right things is hard to know, but wrong things, we've got a nice big list, 365. And it's not coincidental with the days of the year, because it puts you at the solar zodiac, meaning you lose your lunar connection to the Jewish holidays. You lose that Jewish beyond the zodiac place where you just flow with the holidays. It's like Shabbos, Wednesday, Shabbos, Wednesday. Sukkot, Tisha B'Av. Like, you can either be on the lunar thing, or you touch the 365 negative commandments, which obviously have thousands of halachas, but you touch the 365, you immediately get shifted to your horoscope on the solar calendar. Immediately, now you're under the influence of that, which is so random. It doesn't care it's Shabbos. You ever been sitting at a Shabbos table, you wound up at a Shabbos table, and you're like, you're in a really lousy state of mind, and you're like, if one more person says good Shabbos to me, I'm going to punch him in the nose. Or sukkahs over the and you're like ready to kick the sukkah over. It's because your state of mind doesn't, if you're not with precision and accuracy avoiding the 365 negative commandments, your state of mind doesn't care that it's Shabbos. Now, I hate to say this, but I'm going to go a little further and say that you got to be in Israel to get off the solar calendar. And it's amazing how I meet people, I don't care how observant they are, maybe with some exceptions, but almost every person I've ever met goes by their solar birthday, even with a black hat. And that date has really very little to do with you, unless, of course, you're not keeping the mitzvahs. But if you're keeping the mitzvahs, the lunar birthday is the one that makes the difference. That's your actual, real, celestial place. But it has no influence on you, because as long as you're avoiding those 365, you're beyond the zodiac. You're above that, and you're just riding the wave of Judaism, Jewish calendar. And my name's Yom Tov. I'm built for the holidays. Okay, so this is like my field of study, where I've gone into more detail than anything else, because I'm built for the times. I work in those times. Today we covered a lot of ground, and it was a powerful session. Please, if you're watching this on Facebook or anywhere else, share it out there. Get people subscribed on YouTube. And yeah, looking forward to good stuff. Shalom, everybody. See you later.